lovers, the moon is a thing of beauty. But to this man it is a deadly curse. When the moon is full, this miserable wretch turns into a hairy, snarling half-man, half-beast that prowls the night, his fangs thirsty for human blood. He is a werewolf.
Hello and welcome to the Werewolf by Night podcast, the show where we talk about Marvel's #1 lycanthrope, Jack Russell, aka the Werewolf, aka the Shaggy One, aka Russell Jackson, also known as the Demon of Wundagore. I'm your co-host, Matt Howell.
I'm your other host, Jacob Balcom.
Thanks for joining us this week, listeners. Jacob and I got to talk to Kirk Thatcher, the actor who played Javon in the Werewolf by Night special. Here's a little bit of that interview.
So, Kirk, it's good to see you again. We met you at the premiere in LA that we went to, that Michael had us down for. And we got to see you in the special and hang out with you afterwards. And it was a delightful time. So I'm really happy that we get to hang out with you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you guys again. And as you know, Oregon is one of my favorite states. So I'm jealous that you get to be there and I have to be down here. So yeah,
you made that pretty clear, which hey, we love.
So one of you has a barn with, it's well insulated and has a pond next to it. I'm there. Tell you all the stories you want all night. I'll just make stuff up.
Hey, that's good enough for us. So the last time we saw you was the night that the Werewolf by Night special premiered.
Right.
So, and of course we saw it and we were blown away. We all loved it. We all loved you in it.
Oh,
but the reception that it has gotten since then is unreal. Like, how has that been? Have you,
it's always nice to be, it's been a crazy month for me in general. But anytime you're associated with a hit, it's sort of like, you get a little bit of that imposter syndrome. It's like, well, I read the lines and did the bit, but it's lovely, particularly for me, because it's my first acting role where it wasn't one line or one scene. I had a number of bits and they actually brought me back to do some more inserts of my character, beating poor Laura's head against a stone wall. Originally, I just hit her once and threw her back. And then they're like, okay, so we're going to reshoot some of that scene. I'm like, what are we going to do? It's like, you're going to slam her head in the wall 3 times. Like, okay, so her skull is made of titanium, we've established.
So was that at Michael's request?
I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, so we shot the scene originally, and she did the flip, and instead of climbing up over the wall, she just kind of ran off with my axe. And they made it a little more dynamic with her flipping over the wall. And I don't know what the internal discussions were, but they said, this time we want you to just smash her head like 3 times. I'm like, okay. And, the stunt gal was wearing a wig. So I'm holding on the wig to not only, and she basically just kind of went like this herself, but I just hang on to the wig and try not to pull it off. So, that's the acting part. I mean, acting like I'm, going, well, whatever it was, the stone is mine. The stone is mine. And basically try not to pull her wig off or hurt the poor gal. Because essentially my hand, I tried to, keep it limp. So she's doing the slamming. I'm not putting any pressure on it, but also, so I was actually hanging on to a stunt woman's wig. She slammed her face against the wall. But in this, so, we went back and we shot that and a couple other bits of me. The line, death is coming for you, we shot that then. We did like 7 different versions of something like that. It's like, I'm going to get you. And I mean, cleverer than that, but death is coming for you. I'll kind of agreed while we were shooting him. That's probably the most just, raw. Like, this guy is really angry. But it was just a lot of fun, and getting that reception with people, especially about the accent. It's funny because Michael told me that the writer, not Heather, but Peter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think so.
Or Eric. I met him once, so I apologize profusely for not remembering his name. I'm sure I could look it up and you can fix it in post. Anyway, he was concerned that my accent wasn't 100% accurate. And Michael and I talked about it because, I mean, going back to when he was doing the movie, I knew he was doing a Werewolf by Night, didn't know anything about it. but he asked me, he said, would you want to be in it? There's a part for you I think you'd be right for. I said, sure. He goes, okay, work on your Scottish accent and grow your hair and beard. Just let it grow. I'm like, all right, that's all I knew. That's all I knew until 2 days before we started shooting. So
Wow.
Oh no.
I've been fortunate to work with Billy Connolly, so I kind of knew a good Canadian Scottish accent. I have a good ear for it, so I worked with him. So I kind of started with that, but I'm like, well, I don't want to be Billy Connolly. So I took and I dropped it down an octave or two and made it down here. And then I watched the movie Gregory's Girl like 3 times and really worked on the way they pronounce. Well, because Billy, if you think about it, or if you listen to his career, like I have, I started listening to him in the 70s when he was first breaking on the scene in England. In the beginning, it was quite thick. It was more like a classical Swede and, very, very hard to understand. And after working in the United States for a number of years, particularly on a television series, he learned to be more crisp to be understood so Americans could understand him in a sitcom. So Michael and I talked about it and said, look, this guy was born in Scotland, but he might have moved when he was 16 or 17. So he's Scottish is my joke. He's not a Scottish accent, it's Scottish accent. And that's all I knew until I showed up and they said, okay, we're going to do your wardrobe. I did a wardrobe fitting, so I was covered in leather. And I said, I even the first wardrobe fitting, I said, I look like S&M Santa Claus because it's enormous beard. The beard was trimmed down. It was grown down to like, borderline hillbilly moonshiner kind of thing. And the makeup and hair people did a great job of giving me whatever that look is.
It's a hell of a look.
Went back to the mohawk. Everyone's like, "Well, do you mind if we shave your head?" I'm like, "I'm on." My most famous role, I have a shaved side, so I had the modified what we called the Viking mohawk, where it's just not spiked on top, but basically shaved on the sides, and then the nose ring was an addition, and the scars. And so yeah, it was crazy. You show up, and I said, "Can I see the script?" I asked him like the week I was flying. I think I flew out on a Thursday. I asked him on Tuesday, can I just see the script at this point? Because I want to do a good job, obviously, with the accent. So if you give me a couple days, because we were starting to shoot on Saturday, I think.
Wow.
It was fast. Maybe it was the following Tuesday, but there wasn't a lot of time because basically arrived. Friday was all costume fittings. And I guess we started on Tuesday. It was costume fittings and hair and makeup, getting all the wardrobe, everything fitted and the haircuts and the approvals from the execs. And then Saturday started with the stunt rehearsals. That was it. Saturday, I think we had 3 days, or I had 3 days to rehearse the stunt scenes. And so I did most of the stunt was me. The only time it wasn't me is when I got flipped. Because the character when Jovan got flipped.
How many days were you on set?
I think it was like a 15-day shoot. I think I was there for 9 days. So about 2/3 of the shoot. Yeah. And then we came back for a one insert day, like 6 weeks, 8 weeks later.
And what's your process? Like, did you kind of invent a backstory for this guy, or like how do you inhabit it, or why do you do it?
Yeah, well, my process is to not screw it up. I find the most acting I've done before, where it's again more than a cameo or one line, was a theater in high school and college age, doing whole plays where you memorize an entire script and do it over and over again. So that had been my experience. Film and television acting is different in that you can't be as broad and presentational. But so to answer your question specifically, my process was learn your lines. I would write them out phonetically in a Scottish accent so I could learn them. And it was funny, the hardest word for me was first. And the line's not even in the film anymore, but when Laura, or what's her name? The character.
Elsa,
yeah, I want to call her Alyssa. When Elsa shows up, right before, spoiler alert, I meet my end, in case no one's seen it. I was supposed to say, oh, great, now I don't know which one of you to kill first. And I kept saying first, which is Irish, not first, which is Scottish.
Oh, yeah.
Luckily, Laura is Irish. And I said, wait, so, this is how, like, at least close I tried to be. I said, first is Irish, right? She's like, yeah. I said, first is Scottish. She's like, yes, that's right. So she helped me on a couple lines just to make sure it sounded Scottish. And I said, and I think on the second day of shooting, I said, "How's my accent?" She goes, "How's my Scottish accent?" She goes, "Better than your Irish."
Are you a mimic bird? Like, can you just
I am,
do?
yeah. I'll work with people with a unique voice, and in a week or two, I'm doing an impression of them. And it just, I don't know. I've always had a flair for it. Not to the point where it's amazing. These guys now who are online, these mimics are impressionists, I guess. But they're astounding. But I'm also like, what job is that? I mean,
Yeah.
I do a really good Dangerfield. How you doing? I want to tell you, it's not easy. But, like, great. What am I gonna do with that? And there's a guy who does an amazing Goldblum and Trump, and he's amazing. And he's on Twitter, and I think he got on Jimmy Kimmel or something. But
Yeah.
odd skill these days. I'm like, I would, look, I could spend hours working on Christopher Walken and getting it better. But where do you go? Actually, the one I've been working on, which I discovered about 8 years ago, was Leonard Nimoy. The Giants. I've noticed. I think my testes dropped when I hit 50, and suddenly I can get out here. Sorry, this is a family program. I love that this is all about.
It is not.
Werewolf.
It is not.
Yeah, it's not.
Anyway, I don't know. I can ramble on. I had a great time. The scariest part after, the first day of shooting, Michael had my scene with Gael, the big scene where I'm like, oh yeah, it's a beauty in that and all that. That was my first scene on the first day.
Oh wow!
So I have 12 or 14 lines in the show, and I think 6 or 8 of them are in that scene. So the majority of my dialogue is in that scene. And I asked him after a couple days, I said, "Did you shoot that first? Because if I was crap, you could fire me and bring someone else in." He's like, no. And I'm like, all right, because that's what I would have done. But anyway, the editor, Jeff Ford, who's an amazing guy who has worked with a number of friends of mine. I'd never met him, but he was my guardian angel. He and our camera guy. Our camera guy was like, "Am I looking right?" And he's like, "You're good." I'm like, "Is it here?" I would tease Michael, go, "What lens are you using?" He's go, "Shut up and say your line." Because we're friends. He even said on the notes to the cast, "I'm going to abuse Kirk a lot because we're friends," and he did. But that's how guys show you actually like each other.
So when did you meet Michael?
I met Michael, in 2004, 2005. He scored a movie I directed, Muppets Wizard of Oz. And it was funny. He was one of about 6 composers I met because we knew it was going to be a musical. And I knew that I wanted to have a score that was not just, digital strings or something. And so I met with a number of composers and listened to a bunch of CDs. And he'd come in to Henson, and we ended up, for some reason, I think we ended up sitting on the floor talking about Major Matt Mason and G.I. Joes. And we talked about music for about 10 minutes, and then we just talked about pop culture, movies, and, our favorite films. And Lisa Henson was in the meeting, and I remember Michael left. So the meeting was probably an hour when most of the other ones have been 15, 20 minutes. And Michael left, and Lisa looks at me and goes, "Well, I know who you're going to hire." we were like buddies. One of those times when you meet somebody, you're like, "Why haven't we met?" It seems like we've already been friends for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And so he scored it, and we just hit it off, and we've just been friends ever since, to the point where I pretty much see him more than any other human being on the planet, except David Silverman. He and Dave and I hang out every week, and have for, 10, 12 years. And yeah, he just became one of my best friends. And again, because we just kind of have similar taste and similar backgrounds. We both started making movies since we were 10 years old and Super 8 stuff with our friends. He had a much more compliant group of friends than I did. My friends really wanted to make movies with me so I could get a couple scenes, and then they're like, "No, we don't want to do it anymore." So I have a lot of half-finished, not even half-finished, just movie scenes that don't go anywhere. But yeah, we just became really good friends and hang out. And then I knew he was talking to Marvel about doing a project. And then I was told it's Werewolf by Night, and, you can't tell anybody. And I'm like, I won't. And then, like last summer was, do you want to, I have a character that I think you'd be good at. But you have to do a Scottish accent, which is funny because I thought it was a character, like Dum Dum Dugan or something, like was based on.
Yeah.
I guess he's Irish though.
He's Irish, yeah. I think.
But like that, like, oh, there's this Marvel character that I didn't know of who was Scottish. And nope, he was a new guy. His name in the script was Joshua, and then they changed it to Jovan.
Jovan.
Which is great though, because it's sort of nowhere. I mean, it doesn't sound like he could be anywhere.
He's continental.
Yeah.
Exactly. Very cool.
So were you familiar with the character of Werewolf by Night at all?
Yeah. I was a huge Marvel fan. Actually, was a member of FOOM, if you know what that is.
Of course.
Friends of Old Marvel.
Friends of Old Marvel. And Stan Lee was Uncle Stan and huge. I mean, I would spend my allowance on Marvel comics. And I didn't collect Werewolf by Night. I had a couple of them in my collection. I bought a collection from another kid for like $100, and back then that was a ton of money. It was like 1975, 1974. And I had some werewolves and Dracula. And I loved Mike Plugard. In fact, I got to meet Mike Plug. He storyboarded, I think he was on Wizards and so I met him here in LA, and then he worked on Dark Crystal, and I met him through Jim Henson. And I bought his book. A couple years ago, he kickstarted a book, The Art of Mike Plug. So I was a huge Plug fan, and so I knew of his Man Thing and Werewolf by Night comics, but it wasn't a comic that I followed, carefully.
Yeah, so Plug had kind of gotten out of the comics game probably around the time that you met him. He was doing more story design work for film.
That's how I knew him, but I knew his particularly Man Thing werewolf stuff because he just had that great. He and Bernie Wrightson were just amazing. I don't know. They had this dynamic, John Buscema, like baseline, like good comic art, but it didn't have a style just his style was like good comic art. But then Wrightson, Barry Windsor Smith, all the guys from like the 70s who were the ones I grew up with, and Plug had a very distinct style, which kind of as a comic book collector, you're like, oh, that's definitely Jim Starlin had his style. So I was definitely a big comic fan and knew of his stuff. But yeah, it was kind of neat to meet him as a character designer and storyboard artist.
So yeah, you basically, we talked with you for a long time. You told us a lot of stories about working for Henson. So you've worked for the Jim Henson Company for a really long time. Yeah, when did you start?
I met Jim right after Star Trek 4. So I'd been associate producer on that and had the punk cameo. And then a gal who was an effects kind of rainmaker for a company called Omnibus Able, she and I became friends. She was pitching her company to do stuff for Star Trek 4. And she and I just hit it off. And I found out she and I just started socializing. She was not at all romantically. We're just friends. We got each other. We made each other laugh. She was married with 2 kids, or actually divorced, I guess, with 2 kids. But her husband, her previous husband, was Jim Frawley, who directed the Muppet movie, the first Muppet movie, and a bunch of Monkeys episodes. And so as she and I became friends, I would show her ideas or concepts for shows or movies I had. And she goes, who you should meet is Jim Henson. He's, you guys would hit it off. Sense of humor, a taste, the kind of stuff you're doing. So she introduced me to Jim, and he and I hit it off. I guess creative people just kind of go, oh, you get it. And I was a huge fan. I grew up with Sesame Street and all that. So I knew obviously who he was and had worked with a bunch of people who had done sculpting and creature design on Dark Crystal, who would come over to work on Jedi. So we hit it off, and he, within a few weeks, called. I was still living at my folks' house. I'd moved back to my folks' house because Star Trek 4 paid so little that I had to move home, but it was well worth it. Obviously it was well worth it. But so I remember that my mom came to me, whatever, I was out in the backyard doing something. She goes, honey, Jim Henson is on the phone for you. I'm like, oh, really? Oh, okay. And she's like, wait, really, Jim Henson? I'm like, yeah, I met him. And she's like, oh dear. I'm like, what? She goes, I thought it was one of your friends. I was like, okay, Jim Henson. I mean, she didn't say, but she's like, sure, I'll go get him, Jim Henson, And my mom was sweet as the day is long. So she was mortified that she might have, made whatever. He noticed it. But, she answers the phone. He goes, hi, Kirk Thatcher there, and she's like, it's Kirk there. And she's like, oh, yes, may I ask who's calling? Oh, yeah, it's Jim Henson. And she's like, oh, sure, Jim Henson. So anyway, I love that story. So I went, or he hired me to do some character designs working still in LA. And then about a year later, they flew me out and moved me to New York for a year and change to work on the Jim Henson Hour. And then he and I just, again, hit it off, became good friends. He took like 6 of us on a cruise through the Mediterranean on a 110-foot yacht. It was Dave Goelz and I and Peter Harris and his husband, who was the director of most of the original Muppet shows, and Jim's 2 assistants from the New York and LA office. So there's like 6, and Jim and his girlfriend. There were 6 of us, but with a crew of like 8 or 10. So there's more crew than guests. It was just this amazing, and they're all crammed in little tiny rooms. We get these lovely rooms, and on that we talked a little bit about this idea he had about a show about dinosaur thinking, and like, what if you did a sitcom but with dinosaurs? And I was like, that'd be cool. So about a year later in 1990, I was 89. So yeah, less than a year later, he said, hey, I want to fly out to New York. I moved back to LA. I wanted to talk to you about that, dinosaur ideas. And so we talked on the phone. I did some sketches, flew out to New York. We went over them. This is before, fax machines, I guess, existed at that point. But, and then I went back home, did another set of sketches, and I met with him and was going back to do a second set of sketches. And he passed away literally 4 days after I'd met with him. Oof. Which I thought when they first said he died, I'm like, was it a car wreck or a plane crash? I mean, I just had lunch and hung out with him for a couple hours. But that's how I met Jim and worked with him. And then the family very kindly, kept me on till they sold to Disney. I wasn't always a employee, but like a freelance contract, but like a 2 or 3 year deal for writing and directing, or writing and designing at that point. And the directing came in 2000 or 1999. I directed second unit on the Muppets from Space. I'd been writing. I co-wrote Muppet Treasure Island, and then did a couple other scripts that didn't get made. But then after 2000, I started directing. I did The Very Merry Muppet Christmas and Wizard of Oz and a couple other things. And then just last year did Muppets Haunted Mansion, which just got 4 Emmy nominations.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
That's what I was saying. It's been a crazy month from a werewolf just getting huge accolades, and deservedly so. I think everyone did such a great job on it. And then my character, people commenting on it and liking it, and then getting the thing I directed last year, getting the 4 Emmy noms was nice. So I'm it's actually it's stressful in a bizarre way. I think I was saying earlier, it's like a little bit of that imposter syndrome, but also like you don't know what to do with it. It's like if you walked into work one day and suddenly everyone's like, oh, you're amazing. You're like, what's it? Why? What? My first thing is like, okay, I'm going to get fired because everyone's being really nice. I remember when I directed my first Muppet movie, and the producers and Dave Goelz in particular were like, you are so good at like this is what you should do. You know what you want. You're easy to work with. You don't waste people's time. And I said, I feel like the slow kid on the track team when you come in like a minute and a half after everyone else is like, right, good job, way to go. I felt like Rudy in the football movie, like, oh, everyone's being really nice because I'm obviously, on the short end of the stick there. So it's been great, but it weirdly anxiety producing in a different way than like, oh God, everybody hates me. It's like, it's more like, what now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do I do? What do I do to like keep the momentum going? Like, I want to get an agent. I don't have an agent.
Well, it's a Kirkissance right now. So
I don't know. I wish it happened 20 years ago, but lots of hair left. And
Matthew McConaughey with True Detective, Dallas Buyers Club, that guy came raging.
Yeah. I just need another movie role and a movie of my own. And then I'll feel like, okay, now I can retire.
Yeah, I think you said I read somewhere that you said that it was an overnight success.
Yeah, 40 years in the making.
40 years.
So there's a good snippet of that interview with Kirk. If you want to hear the whole interview, That's available for our Patreon supporters who are Moon Beasts and above on our Patreon page, which is patreon.com/werewolfbynight podcast.
Yeah, and that was a long interview, which I knew it would be because I mean we love Kirk. We met him down in LA. We got to hang out with him for hours at Michael's at the after party, and he's just the coolest guy. He's just so nice and so kind, and he was so welcoming to us. So we have a good rapport. I knew that we'd talked to him for a while, and we did. So if you're not a patron, you might want to consider signing up to hear the entire interview.
Yeah, I think that was almost an hour. So
yeah.
There's a lot in there. However, we're not talking about Hollywood or productions or whatever right now, or Mike Ploog. We're talking about West Coast Avengers number 40, which is cover dated January 1989. And the last time we talked about Jack was from February 88. So it's been almost a full year since the Night Shift was on the scene.
So is that the Night Shift? Like that was the last time the Night Shift was there, or that Jack was featured as part of the Night Shift?
Well, I think every time Jack appears as part of the Night Shift, it's in the timeline that I used to book this season. So I don't think anybody was champing at the bit for this character, this team.
Oh, it's too bad. I'm shocked that like a year went by since their last appearance. Well, which I guess would have been Solo Avengers 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So
okay.
yeah, they were not scooped up and beloved.
All right.
In the way that they should have been, in my opinion. But we're looking here at a cover that has a black background with a spotlight playing down on it in a big circle, and the West Coast Avengers, or the Wackos, are standing inside. We find out, I'm not a Wacko fan, so I didn't know this, but the team has been virtually decimated, even more than, by some internal strife. Clint has split with Bobby. She's left the West Coast Avengers. Moon Knight went with her, as did Tigra. So the West Coast Avengers ranks are very thin right now. It's Scarlet Witch, Vision, Wonder Man, and Hawkeye. And they're Latino servants. I don't know where Tony Stark went, by the way. What happened? When did he leave? Is this when he was in Wetworks, which I can't say without laughing? When I say it, it feels like it's a Job spit take gif. Like,
yeah, I like. Is it weird that I didn't even miss him? That I didn't even think about it until you said he wasn't there?
Well, I was just thinking, like, wow, yeah, they have to be Latino because they're servants. I was like, wait, where is Tony?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's some slightly problematic stuff in this issue, but yeah, it was. I don't know. Let's. Well, talking about the cover, at least with what you were talking about, that we have the half decimated team. So yeah, this is all Al Milgram. This is pencils and inks. And weirdly enough, there is a full date on the cover. There's a date of 7/22/88. When was the last time? When did you ever see a full month, day, and year on a cover? You barely ever get a year, but for some reason, Milgram really wanted to date this thing, which is weird.
He was proud. So this is a looking down from above at a spotlight. The Wackos that are remaining are back to back, defending themselves. And the encroaching forces are the Night Shift. And it says, and now, ... the Night Shift. Yeah, and there's a new Night Shift member, by the way. So a couple things of note here. We have Needle, Dunson Macabre, the Brothers Grimm, Gypsy Moth, Tatterdemalion, TikTok, Jack, who is now back in his wolfman form.
Talking
and a new
everything.
Guy. A new guy that looks a lot like the guys we saw in the Captain America issue of the Mutates in the Sewer, the misfires from the Power Broker. And it turns out he is one of them. And all of this darkness is coming from the Shroud's cape, who is in the background spreading his cloak wings wide and enveloping all of them. So you mentioned that this is all Milgram. The inks look like pencils, just with an ink brush. So it's very light lines, which I'm not a fan of. And we have entered fully into the Wonder Man mullet stage, which I had mercifully blocked from my mind like a hostage situation. Yep. Forgot he had a mullet for several years.
Yeah, it's definitely isn't my favorite cover, but I don't know. It's passable. It's funny. I like the night shift all look pretty good, but weirdly enough, like Milgram is using in the spotlight, because all the West Coast Avengers are in the spotlight in the middle, and I don't know if he's using that light line to kind of show illumination, which is probably what he was doing, but it just looks fairly unfinished to me.
Yeah, I mean, all the characters at the edge of the spotlight are much darker, are emerging from black partially. So he does have a command of the medium, but it's just not great. Yep.
So, well, yeah, let's get into it. Yeah.
Can we just get out of the way here? There could be a lot of this tonight.
Yeah. This is not going to be a 3-hour long episode on West Coast Avengers 40. I'm going to tell you that right now. But the opening page. So the title of the story is "And Now the ... Night Shift,"
which is different from the cover.
Yep.
And now ... the night shift versus "And now the ...
That's where you knew something was going to go wrong. Right in the title there.
It went so wrong.
Yeah. And okay, so our cast of creators are, we got Mark Grunwald, Al Milgram, Mike Gustovich is on inks. We have Paul Becton colors, Rick Parker is letterer, and then couple editors. You got DeFalco in there.
Is Mackie new at this point?
Mackie is kind of new at this point, I think. But also, I think Shooter's gone. I think Shooter's gone at this point. Yeah.
Late 88. I think he's gone.
So this is the first issue we've read in a while where, Shooter is not the EIC anymore. So it's a new day dawning over at Marvel.
Well, you and I are not Shooter bashers. We made that very clear.
No, not at all.
I do want to just say that just being a purely, ones and zeros guy, no Shooter here, and this issue stinks.
Yeah, I don't know if it's Shooter's absence that makes it this not a great issue, but yeah, no, I think we both have made it clear we have a very balanced view of Jim Shooter. We realize the problems that people have with him, and those are genuine problems that we understand. Mm-hmm. We also feel like he did quite a bit of good stuff as well. So, yep. No more Shooter.
He kept Marvel afloat in the 80s, personally.
He definitely did. He righted the ship, but maybe not creatively so much, but also he did a lot of cool shit. So
but commercially, he kept them afloat.
He did. So we know most of the folks in the credits pretty well, except for Mike Gustovich. He was primarily an inker who got his start at Marvel helping ink the final issue of Savage She-Hulk, which weirdly enough had 9 inkers. It was credited, they were all credited as diverse hands. That was the ink credit on that final Savage She-Hulk issue.
Who wrote that? Was that a Kraft? Or no, who was writing She-Hulk? Was that
at the end? I'm not sure.
Okay.
I don't know if it was Kraft at that point. But yeah, I mean, Mike was really busy throughout the 80s. He inked books like The New Mutants, Dazzler, Rom, The Defenders, like a bunch of others. He moved over to DC in the 90s, and then he was an inker at Milestone for a while, and he retired by the late 90s and became a visual arts teacher in Ohio.
Ooh.
Yeah, so this issue opens, we get a full-page spread of Mockingbird looking down from a rooftop, looking down at the character of Digger, burying 3 people. So the opening narration reads, "The streets of Los Angeles are mean this autumn night, a fact that is not lost on the ex-Avenger known as Mockingbird." And so, yeah, like you had said, Mockingbird is an ex-Avenger. She's left. Moon Knight and Tigra followed her. And so, yeah, Mockingbird is looking down on this scene, thinking either I need to have my contact lenses replaced or there's a 7-foot tall freak in a hair shirt burying 3 guys in the street. So, yeah, she's looking down. We get Digger saying some kind of ridiculous stuff. He says, and now, my captive audience, your favorite graveyard ghoul would like to tell you a bad time story. Just a little something to idle away the time before a car comes along. So, yeah, and also you and I have made, it's no surprise that we are huge Grunwald fans. I think he was busy doing other things this month.
I was really hoping while I reread this that you had the bandwidth to look at publishing credits for this month and seeing what else he was responsible for, because I really wanted an explanation. I didn't want to trash my guy.
No, I don't want to either. So I'm just gonna, that's almost why I didn't look. I'm just like, you know what? Maybe he had some personal stuff going on. I'm sure he had a good reason to kind of let this slide.
Yeah. He might have had blood in his stool, or a pet died, something like, but something, right? Something. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Yes.
Yeah. So Milgram has drawn Mockingbird very sexy. She's got a very clingy outfit, and her buttocks are very, very prominent.
That's right.
And yeah, so Digger's just digging right through the concrete of a street in LA and burying dudes up to their necks in the cement. And I love that I don't love it. I noted, curiously, that he is doing his host thing to them.
Yes.
Like he's doing a horror host thing.
He's a horror host. He's the crypt keeper.
Which is how he started.
Yep, that's right.
And I was wondering when he first showed up in the night shift, like, how did they transition him into this role? And it's kind of cool that they did no, he still does that, but he's like now in this world.
Now he's just
still
a
narrating. Yeah, he's just a psycho. Yeah, so Mockingbird decides to inject herself in the situation. She jumps down from the rooftop saying, I get a rush out of this thing. I just dive down and rely on myself to meet the challenges of the moment. And she says, okay, tall, dark, and gruesome, what's the low down here? Offense intended. So, they start fighting. And he's like, you dare interrupt my tale. And then she says, a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing, right? Just a little Shakespeare quote.
Little Shakespeare, that's fine.
He says, you mock me, woman. And they're doing the sword fighting thing with his shovel and her stav. Stav? Is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Battle stav. And she says, you got it, dog lick. Which I read like 3 times, like, what?
Why?
How do you not read that and say dog dick?
Yep.
And then I was like, okay, well, I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, which is lick my plate, dog dick. I don't know dog lick.
Nope.
But then she says, insult to injury, I'm not called Mockingbird because I eat birdseed. Like every time we've read her in West Coast Avengers, it's been offensively stupid.
Yep. Yeah, this is not I don't think Mockingbird is portrayed really, really well in West Coast Avengers. And I mean, maybe this is that lull that Brian and Rob were talking about until Chelsea Kane takes over.
Yeah. Which is a long time. It's
a long time. Yeah, it was. But Chelsea did enough to write the character ship on that one. So,
yeah. So yeah, she's they're doing this little sword fight thing with their respective weapons, and she's like, "Wow, he's strong. I guess he'd have to be to break up cement." Which was answering my question of earlier. Like, so he's just using a shovel and digging up holes in the street
in asphalt.
Yeah, and there's 3 very different looking guys. One blonde, one brunette, and one bald, going cripes. Oh, so they're right in the fray here.
Yeah. Next page, Bobby makes quick work of Digger. I did kind of like the little choreography of those 3 top panels to
Sideshow Bob.
Yeah, it's very Sideshow Bob, to where she takes she kind of kicks the shovel up and then gets him right in the kisser with the handle of the shovel, and is quipping the whole way. But Yeah, then she hauls him and the three guys. So did we not? That was the thing. Like was something edited here? Like were those three guys not like innocent bystanders?
They're
Like
the
she takes
Calamari
them.
brothers.
Okay, I guess they're the Calamari brothers, and she needed to tie them up as well, and haul them into the nearest precinct. Hello, Mr. Desk Sergeant. I caught these lads playing in the street, and I do mean in the street. And they're like, "Who?" One of them says, "Hey, you're Mockingbird, that Avenger married to Hawkeye." She says, "You're 2/3 right." So is she still married to Hawkeye? I think they are kind of on the outs right now, but she is definitely not an Avenger, which she is talking about.
Yeah, she's Mockingbird.
Yeah, she is Mockingbird.
She's
married to Hawkeye, but yeah.
She's not an Avenger.
Yeah, no longer an Avenger. So yeah, she's saying like, "Who's this Frankenstein? Who's Frankenstein Jr. here?" They're like, we know him. That's Roderick Krupp, alias Digger, one of the weirdos in the night shift. And so, yeah, he wants a full statement. Ugh, yeah, so many of her lines are just bad. I don't even want to read them. So final panel, and we cut to the Tower of Shadows, and it says somewhere outside LA. And then we hear someone say, "Come on, TikTok, when are Digger and the Moth going to show?"
Yeah. So it was fun seeing the Tower of Shadows for the first time in that solo Avengers issue.
That was awesome.
We're coming back. There's quite a scene here in this giant panel that takes up 3/4 of the page. We have Dunson Macabre dancing wildly on the tabletop. And there's Needle and the Brothers Grimm and Tatterdemalion and Jack, who is in his werewolf form, standing around. And they're basically saying, like, when does Gypsy Moth and Digger show up? We got a meeting here. Shroud's in SF for personal business, and apparently Dunson Macabre is the lieutenant deputy of the night shift when he's out of town. And so TikTok's doing his TikTok thing, saying, well, in 3 out of 4 scenarios, Gypsy Moth shows up in the next 10 seconds, but Digger is not showing up. We have a new member of the night shift here, which is introduced in this issue for the first time. So this is this panel is his first appearance. His name is Misfit, and he is fucking bizarre. I had to do some research because I was like, did he get introduced somewhere else and I didn't know about it? Or so okay, I had a link there that was going to go to a whole bio. So apparently he was made this way by the power broker. So this website I saw for this character, they said that he's basically, power broker has about, at this point, about a 50% success rate, 50% failure rate. And this guy was influenced by, I guess, again, this is just one person's opinion, by Simon Williams and his career as a superhero, and was inspired by him to become a strongman. And he's very 80s. He has a mohawk that is like 3 feet tall. So he looks like a madball or any kind of like 80s extreme gross guy. And his limbs are completely disgusting because one arm is like Conan or Hulk, and the other arm is like a librarian's. One leg is that way on the opposite side, and the other leg is like the Hulk's. So he's all disproportioned. Some of his limbs got really powered and some didn't. And he talks like Bowery Boys guys who's like, I asked you about Digger, you 4-eyed tub of lard. That's how he refers to TikTok. So he's like the totally extreme madball guy that they just injected into this team. And the Brothers Grimm are sitting around watching Danson do her thing and like, hey, you mind doing your dirty dancing somewhere else, Ms. Macabre? Those twirling scarves of yours are giving me a headache. She says, you have no appreciation of the arts, Brother Grimm. And then Gypsy Moth swoops in through a window and just as TikTok predicted, and makes her grand entrance. Says, stifle yourself, Grimm. I've learned bad news. See, this is what it's like when in the Tower of Shadows when Daddy's out of town.
Yeah, and I'm not, I really don't think that Danson should have been made the interim leader. We've said before that Gypsy Moth is definitely should be second in command.
Yeah, this is definitely like Jan being put in charge when there's Marsha right there. Like, bad idea. to be honest, this page, I was just, okay, so Misfit looks like absolute shit. There's a bunch of shit in this issue. I mean, he looks like a Peachy sketch to me.
Yeah.
With his inks. The Brothers Grimm don't look great, but they look better. TikTok's okay. Like, Needle's okay. Like, it's just really dodgy art in this issue. Like, that, in that, like, you know, when everybody was doing independent comics in the mid 80s after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or whatever. And we're like,
yeah,
I
it
can
is
draw.
that bad. Yeah. No,
like,
it totally is that bad.
I made a character. My mom has a copy machine at work, so I have like issues for sale. There's $2 each. But
Matt?
Yeah, the takeaway is Werewolf by Night. Sorry. How do you feel about seeing Jack being a Wolfman again? Like, are you excited at all at this point?
I mean, I don't know. Like he's been such a tiny part of the night shift. Like, he hasn't been used well. He should have been a much bigger part of the team. And maybe this is their way of doing it, because before, like, he wasn't this wolf man. He was a werebeast mostly. So honestly, I think this is the one time where it fits for him to be a wolf man that talks. It fits in the night shift. I think this is the only place where that works.
So you're super excited.
I guess,
That's right
yes, I think super excited is accurate.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Next page, yeah, Gypsy flies down. She's saying, the word on the street is that Digger was busted, shaking down the Calamari brothers. That's right. Earlier this evening, busted by one of the Avengers, Mockingbird. And then, yeah, we just get terrible. Oh, wait, no, that's coming from Danson Macabre. Saying, what? He let some cheeky skirt take him in? That's Danson, right? That's not Misfit.
No, that's Misfit, and she's holding him back.
Okay, well that's a in between word balloon there. That could be anyone, but yeah. So the Brothers Grimm want to break Digger out of jail, but remember that the Shroud gave them strict instructions that only he can deal with the police. Just probably for the best, honestly. And yeah, but Tatterdemalion, he says, forget the cops, let's nail the Avengers. We were here first. They're the ones who muscled in on our turf. So aside from Mockingbird busting Digger, their whole motivation for this attack on the West Coast Avenger compound is that they are muscling in on their territory of being a group of freaks, basically in being a terrible group. So, yes. I mean, that really seems to be like 75% of their motivation. They're mad that Mockingbird busted a teammate of theirs, but they seem weirdly jealous. Like they I don't know. It's weird. Like, the story motivation here is weird.
I say we finish it.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm quoting Tatterdemalion. They're beefing for sure. I don't know why.
Yeah, they are beefing. Danson agrees. I agree, Tatterdemalion. And as deputy leader in the Shroud's absence, I say it's high time we taught those daylight glory grabbers the lesson that all of Los Angeles underworld has learned. Don't mess with the night shift. So yeah, they're grabbing all the glory that the night shift has duly earned. Yeah.
So my question kind of at this point was like, does the night shift know that they're actually backwards good guys? But they don't.
No, they totally don't.
So this makes no sense.
No, nothing makes sense anymore.
So one thing I realized when I was reading this page was like, oh, that's right. The Brothers Grimm, one of them talks all Bowery boys and one's British. This comes up in other stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like Bailiwick and stuff like that is like, oh, that's right. He's the prim and proper brother. And there's the other one that's like, yeah, let's smash him in the face.
Oh my God.
So they're pissed off and they're like, fuck it. Let's go to the Wackos headquarters. And they pull up in two hearses and say, hey, TikTok, what can we expect as we approach here? Because remember, he can see in the future. So he's like, well, in about 10 seconds beyond this gate, some sort of snare coils, which apparently is a common term in the 616. Mm-hmm. And The Brothers Grimm generate some clouds and say, "Don't steam up your stopwatch, Tick. The Brothers Grimm have the perfect anti-coil remedy." All TM. All this stuff is TM Marvel.
Yep.
And TikTok says, "Enlarge your fog banks, video cameras." So they do that weird magic bean spell. And the Doc Ock, basically like John Romita Jr. Doc Ock arms wrap around these stalks. And Gypsy Moth says, "Hey, my mutant mastery over anything fibrous allows me to wreck these CCTV cameras."
The fiber optics, that made me laugh. That
fibrous.
actually made me laugh. It's fibrous. Counts.
Yeah. And then Misfit's done. He's so ready for the 90s. He's like, "Enough of this sneaky stuff. I'm going in already." So he smashes through the gates and they approach these servants' quarters. I'm like, this hovel is the headquarters? So, yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah, but what we realize is that they're like, yeah, the main building lies beyond. This is apparently someone's living quarters. Servants, perhaps? And then we realize on the next page, this page is not a good look for the night shift, because they bust in. They're like, "You one of the Avengers or just some hired help?" And some poor guy's like, "Kay?"
In bed, and it's nice pajamas.
Needle goes and gives him the evil eye, and then it says "wall upstairs." And we meet Yolanda, who is saying like, "Oh man, someone just broke in. I hear shouts. I better hit the alarm button. Senor Hawkeye and his friends have many enemies."
Senor Hawkeye.
Really hard. Yeah. So, and is this a low point for Jack?
Oh, this is a low point for all of us.
It really is. So
they all wear their masks. Is it like this means that they wear their costumes in their houses, and the staff doesn't know who they are. Because she could say Senor Clint in her mind and not be telling anybody who he is, but she doesn't know who he is. Yeah. So she calls him Senor Hawkeye because he wears his costume 24/7 unless he's in his bedroom with the door locked. Well, like this whole thing, it gets dumber the more you spin it out.
It does. And oh my God, final panel of this page, we get guess who crashes into the room? It's Jack. And he says, because he can talk now again, he says, "Oops, sorry about the door, lady." And she screams. He says, "Don't scream. I promise I won't hurt you. You have my word as a gentleman werewolf." And then he's thinking what all of us are thinking. But she's like, "What am I doing here? I joined the Shrouds Monster Club to prey on criminals, not frighten women." So yeah, Jack is all of us, really. Because this is, I can't think, can you think of a lower point for the character?
No. And he apparently bought a belt for his green pants at some point, which is a
blue belt.
Yeah, blue belt. Yeah, so he's like Jack was when the series was canceled, but in the night shift now.
Yeah, he's quipping though. He's a gentleman werewolf. He's got the night shift vibe.
So the signal goes through to Hawkeye's bedroom. Apparently he's sleeping on the couch now because his wife is gone. He keeps his bow up on the wall in a little rack. And he says, "Trouble in the servants' quarter bungalow. Avengers assemble!" And pushes a button. And then we cut to Wanda and Vision's bedroom, and Vision sleeps naked, which is like, he's not a person.
No, he's not.
This makes no... Isn't he like Dr. Manhattan, essentially, as far as like this stuff goes? Like with...
Yep.
Okay.
So those kids are from Mephisto, not from his junk.
So Wanda sits up and says, "Vision?" And he's going, "Huh?" Sitting up half naked in bed. And he grabs a cape. Again, it's so weird. And he's running through the wall saying, "I will answer Hawkeye's summons. You take care of the kids." And then she's like thinking like, well, I wish Simon were here because, half the team is gone now and we could really use some more hands here. But, Simon's at some premiere or something. And we cut to Simon's room and He has a bed frame that looks like he's 12. And one of his last movie poster, which is Archon 4 Barbarian Berserkers, on the wall.
Oh.
So he puts his own posters up, and he has a framed picture of Vision and Scarlet Witch in his room because Vision is made from his brain waves. So he's family.
Oh,
God, that's weird.
It's so weird. Yeah, you're right. It looks like a bed with rails
Bobby
on
Brady's
it or something.
room.
It is like Bobby Brady's room. It should be a race car. But it's like, Kirk, I sleep in a racing car bed. What about you?
I wish I were big.
Yeah, it's so bad. And again, anytime people try and downplay Wanda, like, you stay here with the kids, I'm like, she's the most fucking powerful one there,
She
jackass.
is a god.
She's literally a god. Yeah, I know. Fucking idiotic. So, yeah, Hawkeye and Vision head off to fight. Hawkeye's thinking, man, is my team ever in sad shape? Like, yep. Wasn't in great shape to begin with, buddy.
Yeah,
but it's in really, really sad shape now. So TikTok lets the brothers know what's up. He's like, the Vision approaches. In 2 of the 4 time frames, he vanquishes the brothers Grimm. I must tell them not to try the funny foam or exploding eggs.
God.
So if you don't think that's stupid enough, he goes, brothers, use the Twinkie dust. Because all their shit is ridiculous. And so of course they do. They say Grimm's the name, mine's the same, and blow dust onto Vision, which solidifies him. Vision falls to the ground. He's like, that particulate spray hardening about my intangible form, causing me to solidify. How? That's what I was saying too. Just like,
I went through a mental stoned dog chasing his own tail. Like, wait, what?
Mhm.
I know it's magic. I did not know this, by the way. Until this issue, I did not know their stuff was magic. I thought it was weird science gimmicks. We find out later it's actually magic.
It's actually magic, and that actually kind of makes the Scarlet Witch like step back and be like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
like these guys are actually magic. And I was like, what?
It's kind of cool, but their magic was so dumb before. I thought it was just gimmicks. But the idea of like, there's some type of dust they can blow onto the Vision. I get when it's magic, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Sorry. Let's just move on.
Twinkie dust.
Hey, bro, what do you know? The goofy grape man's got a bow. Oh, God. I love and hate the Brothers Grimm so much.
They suck.
I do like Grape Man for Hawkeye.
It's pretty funny. Goofy Grape would be a little better, but yeah, Grape Man's good.
Are you giving up on that page because Gypsy Moth is something important? And
oh, that's right. So okay. I know. I'm giving up on every page. So yeah, the one thing that Gypsy Moth does is he's flying over. And remember, fibrous mastery over fibers, and she causes Hawkeye's bowstring to break. He goes, hey, my bowstring.
Yep. So it's just kind of come to Jesus moment here where it's pretty clear that they've kind of been bested by the night shift. So Hawkeye's like, Viz, you okay? You better be, because we're seriously outnumbered here. And he's still like, I'll recover soon, Hawkeye, but, you know, this dust is blah, blah, blah. And they have Yolanda. So Needle has a victim. Like, he's holding his giant needle to her fucking face. And they're all swarming in around them. And Hawkeye says, don't know what they want, Viz, but I recognize these weirdos from our files. They call themselves the Night Shift. So he doesn't have a bow. So he throws a trick arrow at Gypsy Moth, which is an adhesive, and it gums up her wings. And then she says, I don't use my wings to actually fly.
Dumbass.
This is decorative. These are not functional. And so she pulls him up like Magneto. Again, I was joking the first time she appeared in Spider-Woman. She is one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe.
She really is.
She pulls him up from the ground via his clothing, and he's levitating in the air. He's like, yipes! What? Yeah. You know, as he's flying up. So she's a fucking god.
Yeah. No, she is. Yeah, and completely underutilized. My favorite line from this is when Vision says, look, one of our maintenance staff, Yolanda, I believe her name is. They don't even know the maintenance staff's names. Like, oh, God.
It's very Buster Bluth, right?
It's just like, you work for me, right?
Isn't this your house? Is this kitchen your house?
Oh God. So all right, next page. Vision
Feels
is
good
being,
to bash an issue, doesn't it? Like just to kind of
it does
finally have something like worthy of bashing.
because we're very forgiving. We want to
Yeah, I
stay
am.
positive. We find good things about slight issues, but this is just a pile of fucking shit.
This is a stinker.
Yeah. So next page. Vision's being attacked by Jack and Tatterdemalion. The Brothers Grimm are levitating Hawkeye. The Night Shift are really holding their own in this fight, which just shows, how fucking stupid the West Coast Avengers are until
Well, they're
Wanda,
double teaming them as well.
Yeah, they are. But until Wanda shows up, they're completely losing. So Vision kind of gets it back a little bit. He uses his solar beam to evaporate the brothers' clouds, which sends them falling. But Hawkeye, who's still floating away, throws one of his explosive tip arrows at the Misfit, which frees Vision. So teamwork. All right, they remember it. They know how to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So we cut away to Mockingbird getting picked up by Moon Knight. And she refers to Moon Knight as Mark. I didn't know how, I'm not like a Moon Knight guy, like a specialist, so I didn't know that he revealed himself to all of his teammates all the time. So she explains that she picked up Digger and dropped him off, and the Shroud guy is behind it, and they go to check out the Tower Shadows, and Mark's like, oh yeah, I know those guys. I've been in the Tower Shadows before. I can find the Night Shift. And he says, I tracked the Shroud down to his lair once, which is not true. He tracked Taurus down to his lair, which was a lie that Jack fed to him, but whatever.
Yes. That's cool.
Yeah. And then he thinks that is my human host, Mark Spector did. I was totally lost. I was like, what? I did not know that Khonshu claimed his body as a host.
Well, this is after the Mensch
This is part of the Khonshu.
Yeah,
What?
this is where my Moon Knight knowledge falls off a cliff.
Okay.
Because they start doing a lot of different stuff. I don't pick back up until the Bendis run.
Okay. Yeah, so they're thinking, we can go there and pick up on the Shroud and find out what's really going on. And so they're in the Mooncopter headed towards the Tower of Shadows.
Yeah, it was nice. I actually feel better whenever we cut to this B team, which is actually the cooler team by far. I was like, oh, okay, this is a little better. Next page. Gypsy's basically is still holding Hawkeye up in the air, Magneto style, and he just threatens to let him fall to the ground. Johnson is facing
10 stories up.
Yeah, 10 stories up.
She could kill this guy in like 3 seconds.
Yeah, which I like that she kind of reminds them. She's just like, don't fuck around with me because I will just let you die. I don't care. Johnson is trying to manipulate and hypnotize the Vision. And he's like, I'm an artificial man. I cannot be affected by your mental manipulations. But then he says, or can I? I feel strange. That doesn't come up again. I'm like, oh, are they going to do something with that? Nope. It's just
Doesn't it? I thought it came up later at the end.
Does it? Oh,
Yeah.
See? Okay. So then Scarlet Witch finally arrives and she comes to the rescue. She causes Hawkeye to float gently to the ground. Gypsy Moth is hurled at great speed. The brothers throw some beans at Wanda, which is my least favorite thing they've ever done. That was maddening. And that was the thing. That was the other thing that kind of pissed me off is that, they've done other stuff before that's goofy, but a little bit cooler. But they throw
to fairy tales and...
Yeah, but no, they're just throwing these magical beans at her. And then Wanda's like, oh, it reeks of magic. It's dangerous for me to use my hexes on real magic. But the alternative is being battered by beans. So, Wanda does come in and save the day, though, for sure.
Okay, so you're an X-Men guy.
Yeah.
So you've known Wanda from the get-go.
Yeah.
I've never understood her power set.
Well,
she comes in and says... Sure would be improbable if gravity went wild and one person were suddenly pulled to Earth at great speed while another floated down like a leaf, which she makes happen. Explain this to me, because I was like, that's stupid.
I think it originally starts off that she it's not chaos magic, but she causes things. Yeah, I mean, I think this is going back kind of to her original power when she was, I think, Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, but that's the Lee Kirby X-Men stuff, which I think is bullshit. I don't know. I'm not super into it.
I mean, she sounds like early Black Cat at this point. Like
a little bit.
What's the most improbable bad thing that could happen? I can make that happen.
Yeah, definitely.
That's dumb.
Yeah, it's dumb.
I thought she was like a god. Like,
well, no,
I thought she could warp reality and reshape reality to her whim.
Well, definitely, and that is coming. That's coming up. I mean, for sure. But I don't think she's being maybe utilized in that way exactly. I'm not a Scarlet Witch expert. You know, I'm definitely more of a Claremont X-Men guy, and she doesn't really show up in that too much.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'll accept that.
Thank you.
So I don't know any Mother Goose rhymes or Grimm's fairy tales that have jumping beans in them, but I'm gonna let this slide.
Not just Jack and the Beanstalk. They do the Beanstalk thing. It's not somehow associated with that in some way.
Jumping beans, really? Like 2 pages ago, we got this weird panel of Vision blasting the Brothers Grimm's cloud, and Jack's foot is just like randomly in that panel, and then on this page we have Danson Macabre's foot just randomly in a panel on the bottom. Like, Milgram just has these people just flying around like I don't know, like dandelion spores. Like, what the hell is going on?
It's so weird.
So yeah, Gypsy Moth uses the cotton inside of the beans essentially to become fibrous and wraps up Scarlet Witch in this giant cloud of cotton and pins her arms down. And Hawkeye's like, hang on, Wanda, and then Needle says, Hawkeye, as he's giving him the evil eye, which freezes him. And he thinks, yikes, I can't move. So Scarlet Witch can't hex, do her hand gestures, which does her spells, because she's in a cotton ball cloud. And Hawkeye is mentally frozen by Needle's evil eye. So Danson Macabre's like, okay, we've defeated you, in case you haven't noticed. Now gaze upon me and listen. And she starts pontificating. We wish to negotiate the release. So she gives the demands. We want Digger freed from prison, from the jail. Yeah. And we'll give you back your scullery maid, which I love. And that's when Hawkeye's like, I don't understand. Who's Digger? What's he got to do with us or them? And one of the brothers is like, puts his hand on Jack's shoulders, like, come on, Wolfie, let's go sniff out some more Avengers. These 3 Jokers can't be. Wait, come on, Wolfie, let's go sniff out some more Avengers. Wait, what?
It should be Avengers, but they've left the S out.
Okay, come on, Wolfie, let's go sniff out some more Avengers. These 3 Jokers can't be the whole lot of them. So yeah, they just handily beat this diminished team.
Very, very improbable in a lot of ways. So thank God we switch back to Mockingbird, Tigra, and Moon Knight. The narration reads, and while the night shift prepares to exit the West Coast Avengers headquarters, 3 ex-West Coast Avengers prepare to enter the night shift's headquarters. So yeah, they've reached the Tower of Shadows, and they swing in through a window, and a giant net of steel mesh engulfs them. And Moon Knight says, we must have caution. The Tower of Shadows, as the Shroud refers to this edifice, is equipped to deal with intruders. But Tigra makes quick work of the steel mesh. And yeah, Moon Knight references that he had been there before. He says the Shroud has changed his defenses since my last visit. And so they disable. I like in the narration it says, and after disabling 7 other such intruder detainment systems, very specific. And then, Tiger's like, do you get the idea nobody's home? And I haven't seen anyone, and I haven't picked up any fresh scent. And then, they make it down to what we'll later see as conference room. And I like the door frame has like a stone bat above it because it's their creepy conference room. Yeah. Tigra says, this place is really a hoot. Why didn't I think of having my bungalow furnished an early Addams family?
So that middle panel to me was weird because, again, I don't want to hammer this home because we've already admitted we don't know what's going on, but like, oh, well, a steel mesh may deal with most intruders, but not a tiger woman and an Egyptian god in a man's bod. Like, just, I had no idea that this was like, Khonshu just possessed Mark's body and was running around doing Khonshu stuff. It's so fucking weird.
It's weird, and yeah, this is our lack of knowledge of the Moon Knight character is shining through. But this is in the period where I definitely did not read Moon Knight, and I think I had even aged out of West Coast Avengers at this point.
Yeah,
I don't think I was. I think I was too old for it at 11.
Yep. Yeah, folks, if you know stuff we don't know, we would love to hear, like, where are we wrong here? Like, 971-220-5865, 971-220-JUNK. Let us know, like, what we're missing in the Mark Spector saga, because this was news to me.
Yeah, it was really news to me. I don't fucking know.
And I love that he has, like, a gold wrestler belt along with those bracelets he had last time. Mm-hmm. So we cut to inside of this conference room, and on the table, there's just piles of gold, stacks of money, gold bullion, and they're saying, holy smoke, look at all that loot. Stolen, no doubt. Boy, does it make me steam that Hawkeye didn't have to have... Boy, does it make me steam that Hawkeye didn't have us go after these jokers a long time ago. And there's a scroll, because we didn't even notice the scroll, and it says... Dear Shroud, XOXO Shroud, paying visit on Avengers to negotiate Digger's release. Join us if you get back tonight. DM. So they leave notes, and they're like, well, how do we contact Hawkeye to warn him that these guys are attacking them? And this whole rest of this page is basically like, what if cell phones existed?
Yep.
Well, we don't have a fax machine. Well, what if we did smoke signals? Blah, blah. And then Bobby's kind of like sticking it to her estranged hubby, saying, well, you know, if he can't handle these night shifters, Raid, it serves him right for playing patty cake with them all this time. So, we cut back to Avengers compound, and Hawkeye's thinking, these rejects from the Twilight Zone are about to leave, and I still don't know what their beef is. Gotta try to speak, even though my vocal cords are paralyzed as the rest of me. So this bugged me the rest of this issue. Needle's evil eye literally paralyzes him. He's frozen, but whenever he needs to do something, he does it. He's like, I'm completely frozen. Just gotta work my vocal cords. And he says, don't know what talking about, Digger.
Yeah.
Which tips off Danza Macabre is like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah, on the next page, she says, I have no idea what you're croaking, Archer, nor do I care. And now we take our leave. So they've beaten them, and they're just going to take off. They're just like, yeah, fuck you. Okay, we beat you. Now we're just going to leave. So she says, be sure to tell your wife to mind her own business in the future. And Hawkeye's like, my wife, Bobby. Bobby must have busted the teammate of theirs. And he says, and since we didn't exactly make it public how she and the others quit the team, they must still think she's operating as one of us. And I was like, oh, well, just leave it there, buddy. That's great. Nope. He has to think one more thing. Blast her anyways. Because he's got to get a dig in on his wife. Now they're kind of split up. But then guess what? Here comes Wonder Man. He flies in with his mullet, knocks the night shift over like bowling pins. He frees Wanda, but Misfit attacks him, saying, okay, pretty boy, I seen your last picture, and it stunk. Here's 5 thumbs down. Oh, yes. He freed Yolanda. And then, Misfit says, "Here's 5 thumbs down," and goes to punch him. Oh my god.
Yep. So he has a torso like a redwood trunk and one arm that looks like it's a twig and one that's real big. And
Yep. We're so close, man.
Wonder Man has a mullet. So this also pissed me off. Hawkeye thinks, still stiff as a statue, but I should be able to move my arms enough to flip a couple of smoke arrows. So he's frozen, paralyzed. He spoke, tipped off the victorious villains, and then reaches behind him into his quiver with 2 arms and throws arrows hard enough at the subjects to trigger the smoke effect.
That's right.
But he's paralyzed.
Also correct.
So, TikTok says, couldn't see where the smoke came from. And this is where all the tables turn. Vision's grabbing Tatterdemalion and Needle. Thanks to Wonder Man's timely arrival, we may yet prevail. It's just gibberish.
It's gibberish.
And the chaos, Dunson McCobb thinks, in the chaos brought by the actor's arrival, I've let the Avengers slip out of my control. I must get it back because she had Vision completely locked down with her, whatever her fucking powers are. And then she says, Vision, look out. He's like, what? As he's punching Tatterdemalion. He's like, confound it. She mesmerized me again. And then Wanda starts doing her hex magic. Now that I have my hands free again, I will counter anything you tricksters have to throw. And then, so the Brothers Grimm have thrown a bunch of straw, which they're turning into gold to bind everyone up, but she's using her hex magic to spin it back on them, so they're bound up in gold threads. Wonder Man punches Misfit. Wanda punches Donson. Vision is coming out of the spell. It's just fucking gibberish.
Yeah, it is gibberish. No, it doesn't. I know it's infuriating and it doesn't make any sense. But again, I love these interludes where we go back to the Tower of Shadows. Next page, the Shroud returns to the Tower of Shadows. He's thinking, intruders, I feel their presence, but I'm not close enough to determine who they are. And he's like, oh, they made it through all my security devices, so they must be pretty accomplished. So he sneaks down, he sees and recognizes Tigra, Moon Knight, Mockingbird. And he's like, what are 3 West Coast Avengers doing here in my sanctum? I like that Tigra's just lounging on top of the table.
I do like that.
Just kind of.
I wish the colorist got her bikini right, because it looks like she's just kind of, in my digital copy, like she's just kind of spreading her junk and smushing it on the table.
Yeah, no, they forgot to color her bikini bottom. So yeah, there's that.
Not that I have a problem with this. I'm just saying.
No. And so she's so she takes another scroll and they're on the table with all this loot and she's like, hey, here's an itemized list of where all this stuff came from. Judging by the names on this list, the loot was scored from other criminals. From Meat Hook Moynihan, 5 gold bullions. Charles Sarnak. Huh? What do you think of that?
Is he a brother of Sydney?
He's a brother of Sydney. That's what I was thinking. 9,000 in $100 bills.
And bootleg records.
Yeah, Mockingbird says, swell, so when is this mob of monsters with MBAs going to show up? So that was actually kind of a funny line. Tigra smells someone, and then our 3 Avengers here. You have violated the inner sanctum of the Shroud. Speak your business at once.
On the bottom left there, when Tigra smells the scent, she has a kitty cat black nose, which is not normally the way she's depicted.
Nope.
Sexier or less sexier? What do you think?
I think
we're just talking no kink shaming, straight up, just like whatever.
I think a little sexier. I'm going to go with that way.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I'm not sure. I keep flip-flopping. So, yeah, Bobby yells out, show yourself! We don't talk to folks we can't see. So the Shroud kind of storms in with his cape of flailing. Says, then you'll be having conversations with yourself, Mockingbird. You can wait here forever if you wish. We'll simply move to one of our other mini hideouts. And he thinks, I sensed a note on the table from Donson. What is his power set? He sensed a note. He knows who it's from and what its contents are.
I know.
My cohorts are at the West Coast Avengers estate. I'd better hurry. So we cut back to the Avengers compound, and they're the night shift's all tied up. And Hawkeye says, so whatever Mockingbird did, she didn't do it as an Avenger. And Vision says, you Fright-Nighters have no quarrel with us. Which I thought he was like a robot man, so he's making jokes now?
Yeah, don't make jokes, Vision.
And Simon says, yeah, but Hawk, these guys are crooks. We've got a quarrel with them, right? And then TikTok says, oh my, and 3 out of 4 time frames. And so anyway, it all goes black. Shroud shows up. And Gypsy Moth, I love, starts laughing maniacally. Like, she's like, you guys are fucked. Our boss is here now. And one of the brothers Grimm is like, the boss, all right. And then Misfit says, nyah, nyah, nyah. Now we got a cavalry actor, man. So yes, he sounds like Curly.
Yeah, he's Curly now. He's a Madball version of Curly, which is really an accurate description. I'm glad you brought up the Madball comparison.
Yeah, that's basically what he is. It's just late 80s annoying toy.
Yep. So next page, Shroud yells, night shift, evacuation pattern 7. I don't know why that made me laugh so much.
I laughed.
Because I'm just like, I don't think these guys are together enough to have 7 different evacuation patterns.
Have one.
They don't have one.
They have one. Actually, they have one.
It's scatter. So yeah, so they all scatter, and Jack gets another at least thought line in. He says, "Good old Shroudy." I did kind of like the depiction of Jack. It's the best one.
Depiction of Jack. Season 3, maybe?
I would think in almost all of season 3. Like, that is classic Jack Russell, Wolfman. Like
Perlini.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It's almost Perlini. I was like, good on you, Milgram. A blind chicken, you know? It's one of those things.
Yeah.
So,
well, he owed us.
He did owe us. So, Clint says, hey, wackos, hit the floor now. And then, just kind of blindly shoots an arrow that pierces the Shroud's cape. And Clint's like, okay, Night Stalker, let's talk. And the Shroud says, not here, the usual place. 10 minutes. And then the darkness lifts. Wonder Man's like, come on, people, they haven't gotten far. And Hawkeye's like, no, let him go. Like, Wonder Man's like, what? Hawkeye says, trust me, Simon, I know what I'm doing. Simon's like, that line sounds familiar. So yeah, Wonder Man's all fucking geared up to do something. I don't know. Fucking
aggressive mullet too. Like it feels like it gets stronger each panel.
It does. Idiot.
Like it's growing like an erection. Back when the Shroud first threw up his darkness, he thinks 3 guesses and the first 2 don't count. Better turn up my high-tech hearing aid. See if I can pinpoint the old master of darkness. I have mad respect for Grunwald. And this is like everything I love about Grunwald inverted. Like,
yeah, I know.
Things conveniently just thrown up just to do something. Like, so we cut to 10 minutes later. Hawkeye's standing on the cliff over a full moon above the ocean, saying that bozo better show. And Shroud materializes in the darkness. And they have this kind of just, head to head saying like, essentially, if you can't have your team like under control and you leave town, you can't trust them to be on their own again. And he's like, how long do you do this whole like tired ass, like we're the bad guys thing with your team? Because it's getting a little shop worn, which I liked. I thought that was actually nice.
It is.
And Hawkeye basically says like, he's like, I'll do it till, it's not useful anymore. And Hawkeye says, fine, but I can't promise I'm not going to tell my team what you guys are doing because they deserve to know. I respect them. And they shake hands, and then Shroud's just gone, and Hawkeye thinks, man, I hate guys who make more dramatic exits than me. He's just standing there with his hand out on the cliff in the fog. Yep, I didn't look for a letter. I didn't want to talk about this issue.
No, this is. I think this is the worst issue of season 3. For sure.
Oh God. I I was getting angry reading it.
Yeah.
I'm mad that I read it more than once.
Yeah, me too. No, I'm glad that's out of the way.
So final thoughts. I don't think we've been holding anything back. Grunwald is a madly intelligent writer, talented writer. This is the worst thing I've ever read from him. I don't know if he was burdened at this point, and it's a shitty book. It's issue 40 of a book that should never have existed, in my opinion. Going out there, going bold.
Yeah, that's bold.
I don't know. I just I think back to when you and I were talking about Captain America 330, like literally 2 episodes ago, and saying like, God, Grunwald's such a great writer. Like he thinks about the physicality of his characters and the way they move, and he includes it in his writing. And like just gushing over how talented he is. And this one's the literal opposite of that, where it's like, wait, so how can he hear the shroud? Okay, he has a hearing aid that he wears all the time. Like, it is a entire issue made up of shit like that, where it's just like, I don't know. Then this happens. Yeah, like it just sounds like it's a cocaine snort of elevator ideas of like just like filling in holes. Like, I don't know. And then hex magic. Maybe this works against vision. Maybe the whole thing is that it's awful.
Yeah, it's not great. And yeah, Grunwald is an amazing writer, and this is not his best. I guess I could say some of Gustavich's inks I think are all right. As far as like Milgram, I didn't have as many complaints as sometimes I do in this later Milgram
This is my least favorite Milgram we've talked about.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
I have nothing good to say about this issue, except that Jack was a wolfman again. That's literally the only thing I liked.
I liked that. I think it fit within the framework of the Night Shift team. But aside from that, no, this is a really, really, really shitty issue.
This was hard to read.
Yeah, it was very difficult to read. So I'm glad we're done with it. We've crossed it off.
Can I say that this justifies my position that the 90s is lava. Like, we're approaching the 90s. It's like we're getting closer to Mordor, and like all the trees are dead and there's no birds. Like, it's just like, no, dude, we're approaching hell. This is fucking shit. Yeah. And it starts to smell like shit the closer you get to the pile of shit.
Yeah, that's true. But
the worst fucking Werewolf by Night issue. The worst.
Yeah.
Like you could have put a fucking trucker or some like fucking disco character in an issue. It would have been better than this. Like it's just awful.
Yep.
It reeks of not caring and not thinking about it.
Yeah. Well, hopefully the last because we don't have many issues left, my friend. I think we have like 5? Yeah. So, and I think 4 of those take place in the 90s. And but I'm excited for next episode. We're going to be talking with our good friend Russ about an issue of Incredible Hulk.
I'm excited about that.
Oh, that's going to be great. Yeah, I've read that issue and I actually really like it. So I already know we're going to have a better time next week because the issue is good, actually kind of great. Yeah. And we love talking with Russ. He's our buddy, fellow podcaster from Gamma Charge. And so I'm really excited about that. That's going to make up for it.
Yeah. That's an issue from is it Peter David?
Yeah.
His amazing run on the Hulk. Is that what's the guy's name? Purvis?
Yeah, Jack Purvis. Yeah. I always forget how to pronounce his name. But I think Jeff, I think you're right. Yeah. He's the artist for that one, I think. Yeah.
I love his art.
Yeah, I know. His art's really cool.
The first, I was checking out some of these Visionary collections from Hoopla, and the first time he drew something, I was a little taken aback for a second, like, whoa, because I was used to McFarlane's jizzing all over the fucking page. Mm-hmm. And then seeing this kind of very stylized thing, I was like, whoa, I don't know if I'm into this or not. And then immediately within like 2 pages, I was like, holy shit, this guy's brilliant. Like, he felt like an indie artist coming in and drawing a mainstream book. It was very strange.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like the Hulk becomes bone or something.
Yeah,
like it's,
totally.
Yeah,
Like Jeff Smith.
It is. It's really cool. No, I'm excited to talk about that issue.
So yeah, I'm totally 100% behind this guy now. So when these two guys are doing Hulk, I love it. Some of the best Joe Fixit stuff, I think.
I fully agree. So yeah, that's coming up next episode. We're also going to have another interview with one of the actors from the Werewolf by Night special. I think we're going to be interviewing Eugenie Bonderone, who plays Azarel.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited that we'll be talking with her.
Yeah, I'm stoked for that. So talk about the bonus show a little bit.
Well, we are going to talk about a film from 2017, a Brazilian film called Good Manners. And it's a hell of a film. Like I'm very excited to talk about it. It's very different than any film that we've seen so far for this show.
Yeah. So I picked this a while ago. I think in season 1 when I was making a master list of just werewolf stuff. And this was on several streaming sites for free. It's currently, I think, only available for like 99 cents on Amazon Prime and like maybe Apple iTunes or whatever. Yeah. But can I just say that it is so worth 99 cents? My wife and I watched this 2 nights ago, and she's still talking about it today. She was like, I want to see it again. I want to see it again. So we really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I did too. So yeah, we're going to be talking about that, and we're going to be talking about the second to last issue of that we're going to cover on your award-winning segment, The Urge to Scourge.
Yes, the world famous Urge to Scourge segment. Yeah, we're talking about Captain America 220, which is when the Scourge that we've been following this whole time is apprehended by the Star Spangled Avenger, and the final appearance we have of him is kind of one of those like this occurs before kind of thing, but it's a very exciting Marvel fanfare story that is entirely done in splash pages by John Byrne. So we have a solid badass ending in the Captain America, and then we have this amazing John Byrne story. So we're going out with a bang. I'm super excited for that.
Yeah, so if you want to check out that bonus show, all you have to do is subscribe to our Patreon, which you can find at Werewolf by Night Podcast, or Patreon/Werewolf by Night Podcast. And yeah, anyone who's a Moonbeast level and above can get the video version of that, which, yeah, Matt spends a lot of time editing. They're really, really nicely done and is definitely worth your money. So check that out.
This is the part of the show where we give a shout out to our supporters, folks who give at the Star God level, which is $10. Folks like Michael Giacchino,
Josh Link,
Jackson T. Overstreet, Mark Nivens,
and Eric Hadley.
And we also want to shout out our pack members, folks who support us at the $5 level. Folks like Tim Tucker,
Brian from Marvel by the Month,
Blake, last name withheld,
Brian from Across the Bifrost,
Caleb,
Ben M.,
Michelle from Moonlit Comics,
Rob Haferman,
Russ from Tomes of Evil,
Brad Michael Elmore,
Jared Savedas,
Tony Iupi,
Bill from Long Island,
Brink, David D.,
and MJ. Thanks for supporting the show. You make the show great. All right, so we'd love to hear from you on our voicemail line, which is 971-220-5865. That's 971-220-JUNK. Call us, leave us a voicemail, let us know what you're thinking about the show, the special, our interviews with the stars, whatever you want. We'd love to hear from you. All right, thanks for joining us this week, listeners. Till we meet again beneath the full moon, furry ones, here's howling at ya.